Cool. There we go. Fucking on and on. We're here with good friend, good buddy, good pal, Shannon Cantan, the classic friend of the pod.
Yeah, I'm one.
Yeah.
Love it. Love the pod.
This is the Reese Paul. Maybe I'll just do this as the intro instead of doing like a Sunday morning, like just
groggy voice.
Yeah, just
like
like
he's got a pre-coffee taping. No,
Caleb, please come here. People seem to like you.
I like those just a simple pop like Bert Kreischer. My daddy.
Yeah.
It's cool.
You're listening to like what am I? I'm not the machine. You're listening to
It works.
The guy whose teacher had a heart attack.
Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna go there. I'm like, yeah, everyone's a fan of your son, so they just listen to the first 3 minutes of your podcast,
Just hoping and praying.
just like, oh come on, one more minute of Caleb.
And we have to have a Kyle the Destroyer shout out. Just at least one in the intro.
just let him have a knock joke every time.
Yeah. I did my aunt's birthday party. She asked, "Oh yeah, you couldn't make it because you had the thing."
I had a convention.
And at the end, I was just like, "God damn, fuck it!" And I started doing Caleb's knock jokes. I stole his material.
Oh, you
yeah. I was like, something, please.
Just everything ends with Uranus.
Yeah, I got that Sherwood bits I've been doing. It did not work. Like literally, like half a mile from Sherwood's.
You just crushed with his material.
Yeah. Knock. Who's there? Olive. Olive, you too.
Oh my God.
Have a great night, everyone.
Thanks for coming.
Everyone had awe at a 27-year-old man.
Holy crap, man. I would have loved to make it, man. But yeah,
it would have been fun.
It was a blind convention. It was a convention for blinds. It was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, man. There was little things that we had there. We had a little fundraiser where we sold like a rum cake.
Oh.
For like
nice.
$75. I did leave, but I came back. Yeah. He said, oh. Doing the Reese Paulcast. Check it out.
Yeah. We're at Square Barrels after the show. Shannon's last show on the island. Is it going to be your last one?
It'll be my last one.
Oh, nice.
Well, I've been crazy. So it was a quick turnaround period. So in 2 weeks, they just said
Shannon's
you
leaving.
Gotta be up there, and I got to pack. I got to catch up with stuff for work. And honestly, I love open mics, but you use it to build your material for your featured set, and I don't have any open mic material right now. So
yeah, what are you gonna like? Come back with a bit about conch shells to Boston?
Actually,
oh man.
Actually, so before I even get to Boston, I'll be out in Portland for a little bit. So I'm gonna be doing got a little Portland material.
Shit, that's dope.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why you did Portland stuff tonight.
Yeah.
You're just like Washington. Oh, perfect.
Portland.
Portland's right next to Washington.
Portland is Washington. It is a rainy Washington.
Yeah.
It is exactly that. And so Michael's like, yeah, we got Michael Madsen, another friend of the show.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I'm allowed to say
episode 3. I think maybe
3.
4 maybe.
Yeah, it was early on. It was early.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said we've got some mics, like 4 mics on Wednesday, 2 on Thursday, which is incredible. So I'm gonna take full advantage of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna go up there first. So I've written a couple of Portland jokes down. I got a buddy who went to college out there, and he was talking about Portland and how they're the most Portland, like of all cities, it's the most predictable. Like when you think of Portland, it is that.
Yeah.
Like he said, there's a place I gotta go to, a strip club, but not to go for the strippers. He said to go there for the steaks. And I'm super excited for that because they said the guys who run that strip club also own a ranch and they have grass-fed beef. And he's like, it's like the best steak. And I'm so fucking excited for that. And he said connecting to it is a parking lot for a vegan strip club.
Like
yeah, good question.
They got
the strippers who are vegan
tofu lips.
Just like, do you want me to take off my I don't know what strippers who are vegan wear, guys. I'm sorry, I don't want to.
What am I, a piece of meat to you? And just wee. The alarms go off.
It's like the lug machine in Planet Fitness.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Damn.
No, dude, I'm super excited for that. So I'm gonna go there. They said you can get like a grass-fed burger for $5 and it's fat.
Holy shit.
Yeah, man. So I feel like that's the true definition of a progressive. For me to go up there and instead of objectifying the women, I just yell at them for cooking my burger too long. Like, that's.
Yeah.
I'm
Dark on the outside, pink in the middle.
You get it. Take this back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna one-star Yelp a strip club, man. That's dreams.
Damn. Yeah, I guess because I've tried to start this podcast multiple times with you.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, I guess I just thought you'd be here forever, you know. But I'm glad because like when we were starting it, like I don't know how, like I was like 4 months maybe ahead of you, and like when you and Lance and Michael showed up, and I think Eddie too, and like we were just started talking about like before that people didn't really talk about the comedy that was happening on the mainland a lot, like the mainstream comics or like even the underground comics that were happening. And so I was really glad to talk with you guys all. That's kind of what I want to do with this, is like that we're not paying attention, you know, that we're also here.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. You know, I don't know if I would have stuck in it as long as I did if it wasn't for I remember one specific night where I think it was after a show. I was doing it for 3 weeks. I'd go every day. I'd get up there, do my show, and I'd leave immediately. Go up, do my show. And then I think it was the week after Lance's first week. I think he came 3 weeks after me. It was me, you, I think Madsen was out there, Eddie, and Lance. And we were just talking about comedy.
Yeah.
And the show ended like 10 o'clock, but we didn't leave until 2.
Yeah.
And I just left with being like, that's what comedy is all about. Shout out to Sam Talent. He will definitely not be listening to this, but he just made a post about an hour ago on his Facebook talking about, you know, when you feel shitty in comedy, just remember you're doing it with incredible people. And it's 100% true, you know, like just being able to just talk shit and be like, all right, what do you think of this special? Like every time we're outside, it's like we're having a podcast. We just don't have recordings going on. I'm telling you, the Hawaii comedy scene is so much funnier off mic than on mic. Like we are just, there's so much things happening, and I'm super proud of that. And once, you know, we're such a young scene that when we learn how to translate what's funny off stage onto stage, there's gonna be some stars.
Yeah, once we, like, it's always been that thing about like just be funny as you are naturally. And I gave Eddie a mic in case he wants to butt in with anything. So Eddie's hanging out with us at Square Roast. He's on the show too.
Yeah, Eddie's here, one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
Eddie's got a small ass.
Hey, dude. Yeah, you missed. Oh man, it was so much fun at Downbeat, your farewell to Downbeat show. But he when he was going to do his set, he was like, "Ah, shit, my pants are falling down." I thought he was gonna do a bit and like pull them all the way up, and he just like touched them and then sat down. I was like, "Oh, okay." Not doing a bit. It's just, I guess they're just about to fall down.
They're just slightly lower than they should have been.
He wears a size, he should be a 32, but he's wearing a 32 and a half.
Yeah. he had a belt on too.
Dude,
a visible belt.
No, you're right though. Dude, I should be like a 28 or something, but all my shorts are like 32s for some reason. I don't know why.
Fuck.
It's really weird.
He just went to.
I'm trying to overcompensate for that ass I don't have, I guess.
I just think Kmart had like the sale when it was going out. He went Route 66 everything.
All right, dude. I don't get my fucking shorts from Kmart, dude.
No.
How dare you, sir?
How dare you, Shannon?
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm Target through and through.
I'm bougie.
He gets his shorts the same place he gets his gender neutral restaurant. That's good.
I got to shop at a place where the employees are complimenting each other.
It's just
I've been I've been working on something about like I'm a men's rights activist. I go into gender neutral bathrooms and leave the seat up.
You just
Like, fuck y'all.
no, I love it. I did. I've had a couple of gender neutral jokes. One of my first jokes. Oh, by the way, guys, I'm blind. So I can't.
Oh, thank God! I thought you were gonna say something.
Which means I can't see. All right. One of my first jokes was I love being a blind guy because every restroom is a gender neutral restroom for me.
Oh yeah, that was like your go-to beginner.
That was my go-to.
Yeah.
It was one of my first, and I retired it. And I retired most of my stuff, man.
Hanging in the rafters.
It'll be there one day. I was recently at Starbucks, and I did another joke about that, about me not liking gender-neutral restrooms, because when you drop a deuce and you're proud of it and a girl walks in, you're like, ooh, I'm not proud of it anymore, and I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. How funny is that if it's a guy who walks in after you in the bathroom, you're like proud of it.
You
Like you just fucking Hiroshima the fucking bathroom, right? But if it's a chick, it's the most embarrassing thing ever. It's just like,
dude,
oh.
Oh, it was the worst. It just happened a couple of days ago. I was out with Clarice, and I was waiting for her, so I went, used the bathroom. I'm lactose intolerant, so I had cheese on my sandwich before I went there, and it was epic. It was something any guy would be proud of. And went there, I'm like, ha ha. And I didn't know it was gender neutral, so I opened the door, and as I walk out, a girl who sounded like her name was Megan was just like, thank you. And I'm like, oh.
Ah, shit.
I wanted to be like, I'm sorry, but I'm like, that'll just make it worse. So I just walked with my head down and just.
Then they'll know it's you.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll just think I peed.
I walked
I didn't
out.
See it.
I held my nose like, oh God.
Yeah.
Somebody
really
before
fucked
me
that
really
Like,
fucking.
God. Fucking Phil.
See the fat fuck that was in here right before me?
It really smells like a different guy in there.
It smells like brute and ass.
He left his spunk. Yeah. You're a really good advocate for the blind. Look up the what is that, a Banco commercial?
Oh my God! Oh no!
Oh,
it was the Honolulu Home Loans commercial. Honolulu Home Loans together.
Shannon's a star.
It was a commercial. It was the lamest commercial, and I always said, I will not sell my soul to the devil, but when they offered me 4 figures, I'm like, all right, that's good enough for me. I'll take that. And so,
Damn.
yeah, I did a commercial where they essentially had me at White Plains Beach, and I surfed. Never surfed before. And I'm very proud of this, actually, because before I went there, they had like a stunt double there, a guy who could actually surf.
Uh-huh.
And they didn't need him because immediately I got up on the board and I caught a wave.
Hell yes.
And it was just like the perfect shot. So they got it first shot. So they used him as like the guy who flopped into the water and ate it.
Yeah.
So he was that double. He was the
Wait,
washout
they
double.
have that footage? Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now I remember. There's footage of you trying again.
Yeah.
I was just like, all right, we got one version of the commercial where he fails and one where he succeeds.
Check.
Yeah.
So it's funny.
That's even better. That you did it on the first try.
The
and
first
they're like,
try. That was the last. Yeah. They're like, oh.
like, ah, fuck. We thought you were gonna suck at this because you're.
That was.
That's like the whole premise of the commercial, man.
That was how it was. So shout out to him.
Yeah.
There was like one part where I was like, oh, come on. They're like, can you make your eyes look a little more blind? I was like, they're like, yeah, that's too much.
Yeah, we see you looking at us talking. Do you mind just looking towards the ceiling?
They're like,
Please.
yeah, you're looking too much at the camera. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
All right. They gave me free scones, so that was
Oh,
actually
shit, yeah.
free scones.
You could take a 1 digit off that figure.
Yeah,
As long as
Like,
the scones are still here.
no. That was what the eyes were for. Like it's like the money was me doing the commercial. The eyes were the scones. They also gave me a. Oh man, proud of it. I got really fat. Actually around that time, and so and then I gained more weight. I can't fit the shorts and rash guard that they gave me for free from that commercial.
Hell
too, so.
yes, yeah. You lost a lot. You're like a really diet guy. You're really you can be really strict when you need it, right?
Oh yeah,
you lost a lot of weight really recently. It's dope.
Yeah, no, I've done so. I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu and I did wrestling, and a lot of that came from it when I really trained. And I don't lose weight like how most people like. I like to go all in, so I'll just jump into a vegan diet.
Yeah.
And just go straight, just vegetables and nuts and all that. And I'll give up everything, like everything that makes me happy, because I feel like I lose, like the more calories I burn from being pissed off, it just helps. So like I literally just gave up everything,
on it.
including women. Like I gave up women for a while because I past, even including this. I'm in an incredible relationship, but including that relationship, I just eat more, right?
Yeah.
And the last girlfriend I dated before this one, she would always give me like her food, and she would order everything on a menu. She'd be like, just to taste. So I gained a lot of weight from that relationship, and I've avoided that as much as I could because I knew it would happen. And
Yeah.
relationships, I get fat.
Ina's my wife's pregnant with our second right now, and so she'll be like, "Oh, I need this," and then she'll take like 4 bites, and she'll be like, "All right, I'm good." I'm just like, "Well, I paid for it, so it's going in me."
Exactly. And you're
I just need to stop ordering food.
See, I'm not a wasteful person.
Yeah.
Just the thought of like, oh man, she ordered 3 things that cost $9. That's a $27.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm like, I'm just gonna eat it, and I'll be fine. And then I got sleep apnea. So that was fun. So she got me fat. Then she complained because she couldn't sleep because I snored. So she'll never listen to this. So.
One thing I love about you a lot is how opinionated you are about like things. Like what you like. Like it's really, it's like living a really examined life of like knowing what, like you have a favorite place to get a burger, you have a favorite place to get donuts, you have a favorite place to get this and that, like, and your opinionation really comes into like you have good taste. And I read something recently that was like having good taste in art. Having good taste is really important because you know where you want, like what you want to be producing, and then you just slowly get rid of all the obstacles that are keeping you from doing what you want to be presenting to people. Like being your own favorite comedian. You know what I mean?
That's incredible to hear. I was I was the youngest child, so I was really spoiled, and I wanted things my way. I wanted. My brother all my brothers actually, they all complain about it. Growing up, I got to watch what I wanted. We didn't have cable, so the only thing we had was a Barney video that I got to watch over and over again. So same thing, translated to life. I want a donut, it'll be my favorite donut, my favorite thing, my favorite this, and I've been pretty blessed with that, that things really haven't hindered me in getting what I want. And I think that's the awesome thing about being an adult that no one gives credit, is you can get what you want if you allow yourself to. And this has been similar with comedy. My move to Boston has been a big reason why I want to get what I want. I love Hawaii, and Hawaii scene has really grown, and it's just going to keep getting bigger, but quite frankly, I feel stagnant. I feel like there's more people out there, more great comedians, and I just thrive off of great comedians. And the more around me, the more I can learn, the more that I'll get pushed, the better.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be really important to see solid technique and, like, what can be done with an audience. And, like, it's pretty difficult to push yourself, like, being your own fuel, you know what I mean? Like, if you want to do, like, I've been doing more weird alty like voices.
Yes,
and
I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. Like I recorded myself like on that last Wednesday show where I did pretty well, and like I've made myself laugh for like the first time in like a year.
Oh, that's
Like it's fucking like usually when you see yourself, it's really cringy.
yeah.
But like I saw myself like doing like the dumbass voices and like screaming and yelling, and pretending to be a public toilet. I forgot. I just it's finally like getting somewhere. It feels like, you know.
You know more than I think anyone else in the scene. You take more risk. You know, you try different things because you're like a savant when it comes to comedy. You try everything that you find funny.
Finally
And
willing to bomb for a 10-minute straight. Like
yeah. You're willing to do that, and I think that's probably where my weakness comes in, right? I find certain things funny. Political. I'm a big politics guy.
I can't wait for you to get somewhere where political humor will be like like people will know at least who their own governor is.
Yeah,
Like-
no, it's true. It's true.
How about Tulsi Gabbard, everybody? Like literally the most Hawaii, like famous Hawaii politician right now.
you hear three people? Woo.
Yeah.
Like during the Kavanaugh case.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I had a bit, and it wasn't even like who wants to hear about Kavanaugh. Like it was who's heard, who's heard about a Kavanaugh thing. And I didn't even get groans.
Yeah.
That's how you knew people had no clue what was going on.
We gotta be like a local Barry Crimmins where he's like, all right, that thing where like if he was doing his political humor and he was like, okay, so there's three branches of government. It's like, let's start from the beginning. Like everyone here is an idiot.
See,
I'll tell you, yeah.
that's also not my style too, to shit on people. You know,
Yeah.
I'll throw out a couple of things, but my thing is more, let me connect with you.
Yeah.
And so even like the stuff that could be considered cringy, I don't want to attack people. Even my crowd work is, where are you from? Oh, I love that place.
Yeah.
But I do, like, I'll shit on it in a nice way.
Yeah. Like Todd Glass's last special where he was like, I'm actually award-winning for my crowd work, but it was always mean, so I've been doing nice crowd work lately. It was like, you, sir, nice shirt.
That's hilarious. Okay, I haven't watched that
It's
yet.
just like so ridiculous. And he's got like a 5-piece band. I think it was called Act Happy.
Okay, I have
I
not.
don't know, it's pretty good.
I haven't seen that one. Have you seen it yet, Eddie?
Yeah, that's with the band, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I remember he did a part where he was doing Mitch Hedberg jokes as Rodney Dangerfield, right?
Oh,
Yes.
That's the one?
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds incredible.
Funny,
Yeah. He does that on his podcast a lot where he's like, he'll do like a robot voice. Like you just type in Mitch Hedberg jokes and they still work. You know what I mean?
Mitch Hedberg is definitely a top
Yeah.
5 or 10 in my book, man.
'Cause it's
Everything's funny.
performance and writing. Like,
Yeah. Holy macro, that's
Yeah.
true.
You know what I loved about that guy is that he almost did everything you're not supposed to do, and it just worked out perfectly. Like
Nice.
wearing sunglasses on stage,
Rocking,
looking down
yeah.
at the ground. You know, dude, he would he would hit a punchline and go right into the next joke, like through the laughs.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't even he wouldn't like wait. You know, like it was really weird.
And he'd
But-
call himself out on a bad joke, and that would be a joke in itself. Yeah, you're right,
Yeah.
man. I love Mitch Hedberg for that, you know. And
Yeah.
he broke all the rules, and I think that's why we have so many more different. That's what it stemmed from the alt comedy scene, and we've got different types of comedy because of a Mitch Hedberg style where he broke all the rules, and you're like, well, if you're just funny, you're funny, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? From what I've heard from other comics is that Mitch bombed with that style for a long time. It took a long time for people to understand what he was doing. And I saw the same thing with guys like Jackson.
oh
You know,
Yeah.
Jackson had a lot of rough fucking nights, but I always knew because I like that style. I
Yeah.
always knew he was funny as shit.
Yeah.
You know, and before he just left, right? But before he left, he kind of really hit his stride. I felt like.
He did. He won the competition.
Yep.
He's, you know, for a while, he was really very much a comedian's comedian, you know. And
Yeah.
I think Reese is very similar to that, where we're like, we appreciate the deep thoughts of it and what goes into that, but people just, I don't know, it could be a regional thing because it's hard to find people who are 100% all in with your style of comedy, or
Yeah.
so there's a lot to it, but I think we all knew, any comedy fan knew that what Jackson was saying was golden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I personally I like people who take chances with things.
Mhm.
Like they don't just play it safe and
Yeah.
some people will find a bit that works and they'll just do that every fucking time.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
yeah.
You two
yeah.
keep going. I
But-
gotta take this real quick.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. No.
You guys were already still going, so I don't know why.
Sure. No. 100%.
I would say something.
Wait, is this
Yeah.
a recording though, or is it just chit
Oh.
chatting?
Yeah, it's still recording.
Okay. Yeah. No, man. I agree. I think that stylistically, we know who's funny, and we know why they're funny, and we
Yeah.
understand. But what were you saying about Jackson before?
No, just about how he had some rough nights
Oh, no,
early
he
on.
did. Yeah, you're 100% right.
Like
His-
he had I listen. I always loved Jackson's jokes because Jackson and guys like John C and shit like that.
Yeah.
They would tell me their jokes, and I would laugh like fuck because I like that kind of shit.
It's great. They're
But
brilliant minds,
it takes a while for the crowd to sometimes get what you're doing. I remember one time at Anna's one night after a show, Jackson went up and he did his jokes and he had a rough set, not a lot of laughs. And this girl came up to him after and she was was telling him, this girl who's not a comedian, she was just in the audience, and she told Jackson you know what you got to do? She's like, you got to set up your jokes better. You're not you just go into them and they don't nobody knows what you're talking about. And we're telling her no, you don't understand what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I remember that night. He was super frustrated with her.
Yeah, I was just you don't even know what the fuck you're talking
Actually, he
about.
wasn't even that frustrated. He was
No,
just
he's just oh.
yeah. He's just like, oh,
He's
no,
very
I know,
non-confrontational.
don't worry
Yeah, he's
about
like,
it.
oh, thanks, or some
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a bummer. He did have a lot of rough sets, and I think, you know what?
As we all have had.
Yeah, we all have
everybody.
Had, we all
I
have
mean,
had
if
our-
you just give up, you're not really gonna and
No.
give up and be
Yeah.
do your. I
Yeah.
mean, I think a lot of obviously the promoters would want you to fall back and make people laugh, but
Yeah.
we're not gonna really develop.
No one's gonna bat 1,000. I think Derek
No way.
Reimers. No way, really? And anyone who tells you they have, I hate you, and you should.
They're
quit
either a
comedy.
liar or they've
no,
had
they're
one.
non-self.
They've went up one time and killed. And
No,
they just never
no,
won
no.
again
They're
or
just
anything.
not self-aware.
Yeah.
They've definitely bombed, and that's.
Well, I know a person. I know a person who's done that, who gone up and it was just silence the entire time, and then she got off stage and was like, "Wow, I fucking killed it in there." It's like okay,
Man, I ripped it.
yeah.
It's frightening, It's frightening how these people actually do that, and they convince themselves.
Well, it's everybody's different, right? But some people are delusional like that, or they'll get no laughs basically, or they might get one laugh the entire set, and they'll come on and be like, "Oh, I fucking crushed it."
Yeah.
We almost have to be delusional in order to bomb and then do it again
Yeah.
a week later.
Yeah, but I'm the opposite. I'm I could have a decent set, but if I don't know, I feel if I don't crush it from start to finish, then I'm not
Yeah.
satisfied with it.
Yeah.
I'm it was okay. You know what I mean?
I think very similar to that. One of the
I'm
thing-
hard as fuck on myself.
Yeah. But
yeah.
who else will be, right? I
Exactly.
mean, and this is probably the shitty thing about being in a good scene too is we're not gonna hold each other that hard as you do yourself. So if you're not gonna
Right.
hold yourself to that higher level, no one else will.
Yeah, that's
No,
really
For sure.
in other scenes. If we weren't improving as quickly as everyone else, we would start being crushed. But
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
one really allows for self mediocrity.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You have to push yourself to be funny to yourself and hold the bar way above your own head in order to get anywhere. I feel.
Yeah, and we're such a small scene, you're going to continue to get booked, right?
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
truly, I'm pretty sure we'll start figuring that out. If you're not crushing or not doing well, the crowd will say it. There's no other, I don't think any other art where the crowd is as honest except comedy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
music,
Dude.
you're a bad singer,
You'll
people
get a
still
round of
dance
applause.
and
Like,
laugh.
yeah.
I feel any comic who says they crush it every night, I'm immediately skeptical of that. You know what I mean? Because even the best, I've heard people say, I forgot who was talking about it, but they said they saw Bill Burr at the store one night, and he just fucking murdered, right? And he came off the stage, and they were like, "Oh, dude, you crushed it." And he's like, "It was okay. I kind of messed up here and there and stuff." You know what I mean? But that's to him personally. He feels like he didn't do as well as he could have, even though to other people he crushed.
Yeah.
But I feel like to be that good, you have to be like that hard on yourself.
Yeah.
It's like if you missed one little word in it, then it's not as good as it could have been. You know what I mean?
No, you're right.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is, right?
If you're willing to tell yourself, "Oh, I killed it tonight," you might be doing yourself like a disservice. I think. You know.
You absolutely are. I go out there and I have like an idea of. Okay, I'm probably weirder than most comedians. I have an idea of what I want to say. I don't know how I'm gonna say it until I say it.
Yeah.
My mouth works differently than most, but essentially I have bullet points, and I go up there and I throw it out. You know, I had a couple ideas, and if it doesn't hit or if I'm embarrassed by the way it came out of my mouth, even if everything else crushed, and I'm focusing on one thing because I'm like, I woke up and this was funny. And if it's not funny, I'm just sad.
Yeah. Yeah. When it's just like, the worst thing is that when a bit bombs and then it does well again the next week, and all it was just like you worded the first like you didn't take a good enough break between the first before like just like when something, there's so much stuff that can be given up on that like because it didn't work the first time you said it, and it's just like who knows what that could have been, you know.
I love that, and I think it took me a while to bring things back because I was like that. I was one of the, whether how you want to look at it, one of the lucky or unlucky ones where the first time I came out to comedy, I crushed.
Oh yeah.
By the grace of God, I had a breakup, got my heart broken. And I'm like, same day, I'm like, I'm going to go to comedy, and if I do good, God, I'm coming back. And shout out to Kevin Keller.
Shout out to God.
Shout out to God and Kevin Keller, same person. Kevin Keller it was out at Osoyami, and that night it was an open mic. He brought
Osoyami.
40 people to an open mic. 40 people.
Yeah.
And I thought that's how it always was. I'm like, oh man.
Where everyone's chill,
Yeah.
hippie, like very into like whatever's going on stage,
Yes.
and like down to play.
Exactly. So I went up and I did very similar to what I do now, where I have my bullet, and I crushed.
Yeah.
I crushed for a first time, and I'm like, ooh, it's easy.
Yeah.
And I did well probably my next couple. Then by the fourth time I bombed, and I just go into these long streaks of bombing and killing and bombing and killing, and it just makes me better. And I'll give up on a bit because I'm like, all right, this is shitty because people didn't laugh. And then I started bringing it back 2, 3, 4 months later, and all of a sudden it works with another bit. I love when that happens.
Yeah. When bits accidentally fuse together.
Yeah.
Like you had that the accent bit.
The accent bit?
The accent and a good perfume or something.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was just talking. Yeah, I was.
I haven't heard you do that one in a while. You got it in the back pocket, or
I got it in my back pocket. I haven't. There's a lot of them that I haven't really.
You can keep it there, bud.
Yeah. No, I'll throw it out.
Go see this motherfucker live.
Yeah, you guys will hear it. I think I've only used that twice ever.
Yeah?
I used that first time. I was just talking and it just fell out of my mouth.
Yeah.
And then that time where there was that Brazilian English woman.
Oh my God, yeah. What's that? I forget where that was, but it was just like
Tools. I think there was like 3 people and comedians.
that was like one of the most perfect. Like you feel the tension build, and then it just like explodes. Like it was like the room like jumped up 2 feet, and then it hit the ground like hard once you hit the punchline.
I was
It was like
shocked.
one of those fantastic live moments where you like it felt like a vacuum. It wasn't there for a second.
Yeah, I wish I recorded that. That was one of the cooler moments.
Yeah.
I remember that because it was it was just a few people, and it sounded a lot louder than what it was. But that was one of those moments where I tapped myself on the back, like, all right, you're done. You're done.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And I love that. There's always, I think we all have those moments where there's at least one where like, damn, that was awesome. And
Yeah.
that was one of my moments.
Dude, yeah. My fucking like the first time I ever felt like I did really well was at Square Barrels my first time. because I've been going to the open mics at Anna's for like a couple months. And then I had a good set at Anna's one night, and Patrick asked me if I wanted to do square barrels. So I was like, yeah, sure. I almost denied it because I was like, I felt like I wasn't ready. I was like, do I have 7 minutes? You know what I mean? And I was like, fuck it. I might as well just do it. You know, what's the worst that could happen? And so, like, I went and, like, I feel like that night, like, I crushed harder than, like, any other time here, like, at Square Barrels.
Yeah.
Like, that first night, because I was like, I got nothing to lose, you know?
Yeah,
I was just like,
once you
fuck
come in
it.
nervous.
You know? And everybody was just feeling it that night. I was just like, fuck. I still think about that night till why I was just like, wow. I thought to myself, I was like, if I'm 2 months in and I did that, I was just like, if I just keep going, I can do that more, you know? So it's like, I feel like everybody has that one night they think about where it's just like, I did it once, I could do it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love hating first-timers with Shannon. That's always, like, when Mike Rayo went up and he was just like, when I wake up and I take a shower, quarters fall off me. Me and Shannon are just in the back, just like, fuck this guy. God damn.
You know,
and then we grow to love him.
I hated Rayo in the beginning.
Yeah.
Bro, everybody, one thing about Mike Rayo I've noticed is like,
Everyone hates him.
his first impressions are terrible. But if you give him a chance, you'll fucking love the guy. You know what I mean?
You have no choice but to give him a chance.
Yeah.
'Cause he's
Yeah.
just, but I hated him because it wasn't even like his on-stage stuff, which I'll be honest, I hated him
Well,
for
he
that.
used to heckle people and shit.
Yeah, no, well, he
in the beginning.
heckled. But when he came off stage, he would, like, he'd walk with me in the bathroom, right? And he'd go, huh, you didn't see that coming. And I'm like, oh, what the That's not even a joke, bro. Like, I'm
It's
like,
like
okay.
pants around your
bro,
ankles at the,
I
at
was
the
mad,
urinal.
yeah. He's talking to me like, you didn't see that. I'm like, what? What was the joke, bro?
Yeah.
And he was, but somehow, you know what it was, actually? The first time I'm like, all right, this guy's going to be someone I consider a friend was the award ceremony where he got Accidental Comic of the Year.
Uh-huh.
And like when he's just like, man, they gave me this award with like a participation trophy. I can't even grow weed on this shit. I'm like, oh my god. He's like, man, I'm not even the funniest Michael on the stage. I was like, this is funny, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and when you make me laugh, and I think that's one of the most interesting things. It's hard to hate someone that makes you laugh.
Yeah.
In every way possible, you know. And Patrice O'Neal is a perfect example. He's my favorite comedian of all time. I don't agree with half the things he said, but he could make me laugh, and he could make people who didn't agree with him laugh.
Yeah, that was really, yeah.
And what a way to disarm people and charm people. If you can make people laugh, even if they don't like what you believe or like, they'll still like overlook at everything as a human, and that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Dude, I was just thinking about that the other day, about like even somebody who you fucking disagree with on fucking everything, you guys agree somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Some
fucking
sort of overlap.
like you and Osama bin Laden fucking I
Really
bet you
into
guys,
hentai.
yeah, you guys both you guys both like fucking milkshakes or something, you know?
Both you
Yeah,
like
it's
Nicki Minaj's booty pic
Yeah,
or something. Like,
there's something you agree on, dude.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
no,
But
that's,
Yeah.
that's funny as shit though. Is that Mike Rayo? The funniest shit was that his go-to joke we were trying to figure out for the longest time, and we
Oh
never
my
knew.
god. This
I was saying-
motherfucker is so irritating.
He's like,
He's even invading this podcast. He's not even here. He's
This-
right
not
now
even
he's coming
here.
around
He's not
being like,
even
"Hey,
here.
can I
He's
be on
his
it?"
way in here.
All right,
he's
what's
like, man, He's like, man, I came to Hawaii. I thought I'd be a fat person in paradise, but turns out I'm just a fat person in paradise.
I've told
Every-
him so many times.
Every week we're like, what?
But we
Yes.
laughed because he had all
No.
the confidence in the world of someone telling a funny joke, and we're like,
Yes.
does he know?
Dude, no. The first time he said it perfectly on like spam cells are. He said it like perfectly worded. He's like, spam cells so high in Hawaii. I thought it was gonna be fat person's paradise. Now I'm just a fat person in paradise. Like a perfectly like this is like a month in, a perfectly compacted bit, and just like, oh my god, this guy is fucking hilarious. And then every single week after that, he's tried to say it again. He's tried so many different iterations of it, just wrong.
It's the same way. I'm just
Yeah.
It's hard to be a fat person in paradise, but I'm just a fat person in paradise.
Yeah.
Dude, you don't even know how many times Mike has told me, like, right before he's going on stage, like, bro, check this out. I'm going to do this new bit right here.
Yes.
And doesn't do the fucking bit at all. Yes. Then he comes on, he's like, oh, shit, I forgot. Or some shit.
It's gotten to the point where he does an extended bit about Spam because he knows that there's something on the other end of Spam. He's just like, man, y'all eat Spam down here? What Spam? Hawaii eats the most Spam.
My favorite thing when he's just gone on like a tangent. There's like that video of him at the collective, and he's like, "Oh man, Kailua, was just at a lawn. Oh, I was at the Walgreens. The Walgreens looks like a Safeway.
Zippy's looks like a restaurant." I think the one he was like, "Street's so nice, I didn't even piss out there."
and it's real.
Yeah.
See, that's the funny thing about him
Yeah.
is when he says stuff,
He's
it's
just
like,
being
"Oh
honest.
no, it happened." He's like,
he's just accidentally being honest.
he's like, "Yeah, man, I work at Men's Warehouse, and I had my mom lie on my resume for me. Said that I babysat her kids." It's like, that's fucking funny, man.
Yeah.
He only got a job because he lied about it.
Yeah.
I just like that, like, sometimes he'll just have, like, a little pause in between his jokes, and he'll just be like, oh, I'm fucking fat as fuck.
How much time I got?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Any hoots.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I like when he says like old timey, like like what with the rigmarole and whatnot. It's like wait, what?
I didn't even know that word.
There's just like a old soul in there,
He's so funny, man.
just tapping at the window.
That's what it is. If you want to disarm me, because I look like someone you want to approach, but I'm inside, I'm dead. And you want to disarm me and make me like you, it just make me laugh.
Yeah.
If I don't think you're funny, we're probably not friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think we're gonna start wrapping our way up.
Yeah.
What was one of your favorite sets that you've ever had?
One of my favorite sets I ever had.
Yeah.
There's been a couple that I'd say probably the most recent one was the one I did out in Vegas. It was a cool show. It was for blind people. It was about 400 people there, and they allowed me to cuss. And
Nice.
I went up there with some things I was gonna do, but then I met a manager or like vice president of the Hilton in Texas. And I met her. I was in a car with her, and I'm like, oh no, she's sweet. So I couldn't go into the bit I was going to, but it ended up crushing, and it did well. And some of my favorite ones was probably the first time here at Square Barrels where everyone was crushed. And I love that. I love when everyone does well. When me, Eddie, Reese, Michael, Madsen, Kenny, when everyone was on that, we did. And I think there was one time that 100% happened when I brought a lot of people from work.
Yeah.
And those are some of the best moments, some of the best memories. But again, my favorite thing is less of my sets and more of these types of conversations where, some of the stuff we can't say on record, but it's makes me laugh.
Nice.
I'm going to cry right now.
Yeah, man.
Such a beautiful.
Beautiful soul,
I'm
Shannon.
gonna be sad, bro. I'm gonna be sad.
Yeah. You'll be back around, right? I mean, you've got intrinsic ties to the island. If not, I mean, I'll go up there and see you. I got family out in I think Springfield, Mass.
Okay, yeah, Springfield. That's the Wahiawa of Massachusetts.
Oh,
man.
yeah?
It's pretty ghetto. One of the sorry, just
They
going into
live
shit.
up
What is
on
that
up
ghetto
on the
part?
fucking hill.
Where's Mark Wahlberg from? Like fucking Dorchester or something?
Dorchester.
Southie.
Southie.
Are you from Southie? You like apples?
Hey, excuse me, are you Vietnamese? Excuse me, sir. Just like now he's polite about it because he's got something to maintain.
That's funny. There's a lot of ghetto. Springfield, one of the things they're weirdly known for is Halloween or 420 or a certain date.
Yeah. Halloween or 420.
Halloween or
Like one of
420.
those, you know, something to do with candy. They
Hitler's birthday.
like white kids would drive behind people and they'd flash their highlights. And if someone highlighted back, they would like drive them off the road and like beat them up.
What?
Yeah.
I thought that was just a fucking
It's like one of those things.
shit that your grandma sent you. Like, like we cannot trust people who wear colors. In colors, we cannot trust. It's basically the most racist chain letter. It's the closest they got before it was just a big N word.
Oh my God.
Multi pages.
It went there.
Yeah. Can't trust these people with their flashers. Gang members. They always say gang members as if there's never any white gang members.
Hoodlums.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but yeah, excited to be back in Boston. Gonna miss this scene. You know, learned a lot going to.
What part of Boston are you moving to? Like, just right in the city, or like, is there a specific area?
Yeah, it's a Revere, Mass.
Revere.
It's the
Revere?
most. Yeah,
Is that French Boston?
no, it's the most Bostonian of Boston. Really,
really?
You know, yeah, like kind of like Southie. They have this.
Right next to Harvard.
No, it's close to the airport, but it's got its own thing. There's like a little beach there, the grossest beach in the world. Grossest beach in the world, bro. Like it's.
Dude, we used to go to Cape Cod with because my grandparents are from there,
Yeah.
and me and my brothers were so spoiled by the beaches here. Like
Yeah.
they were like took us to a beach where it was like $20 per person to get into the beach.
What?
Yeah, and then they were just like, "All right, here's the beach," and we're like, "This fucking sucks.
Oh,
This sucks dick so bad."
Oh, it's the worst, and no one warned me. No one
Yeah.
told me like, hey, you
fucking
know,
greenhead flies.
yo, dude, I thought I was getting
Yeah.
a sunburn, right?
Pure terror.
Oh, it was crazy because I'm like, wow, the
It's
sun
like these
is
flies
really,
that are like as big as a quarter, and they
they'll-
land on you,
and they bite you. They bite you, man.
They're trying to get the
Oh.
moisture off of you, and they're just
Fuck.
this bug is just biting you.
But it feels like sun. It feels like the
Yes.
sun's beating down on you. So I had them on me, and I thought, oh shit, man, the sun's
You just,
Yeah.
beating down, and then you
just
feel,
have
and then you
thousands
feel-
of bugs
Oh,
on you.
it's
Yeah.
gross. It's disgusting.
And we went to another beach, and it was like 3/4 miles to get to the water, and it was just sand for that long.
Right.
And it was a windy day, and it was just like going through a goddamn sandstorm in like our bathing suits, you know, just
Oh
like
my
no, leave the shorts, leave your shirt.
And
Bring a towel.
the Atlantic Ocean is so cold and,
Yeah.
and gross. Yeah, I hopped into the beach.
Seaweed.
No one warned me. Yeah, I jumped in, and it just felt like ankle deep of muck. It felt like a sea monster was nibbling on my toes, and I jumped out of the water.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what was that? They're like, that was a beach. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not a beach. It's not a beach.
This that good shit. Damn, dude, this is that
good
good
good.
shit.
That good shit. Oh man. Damn. What? Yeah. No, love it. Love it here. Love you guys. Love Hawaii. I don't know how much I'm gonna be out here. I know my first year would be 10 days of vacation. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. Damn yeah. And then you gotta go. I mean, you should go to the Big Island and see your
Yeah,
family,
yeah.
obviously,
I see my family.
if you're ever gonna come back to Hawaii.
I'll be taking a lot of like my vacation would be things like comedy. You know.
Yeah.
Just trying to make my name on the East Coast. Do a little New York
Absolutely.
City show, DC shows. So.
Dude, that's so good because you'll be right in like, you know,
The core of it.
vicinity. Like, yeah, you can just go fucking wherever, you know.
Yeah, you know, four
From
and a half hour
Boston-
bus ride to New York City. It's great.
Yeah.
Boston's got like strong like Will Noonan and fucking like Gavin V. I don't know, but like Boston is supposedly like a very singular, like very strong ability to work crowds. Like comes out of Boston a lot.
Boston's such a legendary comedy
Yeah,
fucking
absolutely.
city, dude.
Incredible
Like,
scene.
just
The chop
the
suey.
amount of fucking people that came out of there.
Incredible.
Yeah,
scene, man.
crazy.
And I'm excited.
And you've done stand up there before, right?
I did. I was there out in May, and there was there's the coolest things. There's a guy named Owen who runs a show out there, and I just thought it was the coolest idea. It was an open mic, and he ran it like, he had a topic. People could choose to do that topic or do stand up, and a lot of them did. So it was like aviation, so they could talk about their airplane battles, or if they've ever, you know, a lot of them talked about their first time they had sex, and then afterwards they would take like a Q&A. And he was the best at asking questions, so it was like a real live podcasts, doing stand-up. There was just incredible comedians. I love New York City. There's a lot of people who did some awesome shit. One of the guys I did a show with is doing Trevor Noah.
Shane Gillis.
Oh, no. Opening in Madison for Shane. But they...
Hey, Chinese food sucks, huh?
Not the people.
Hey, get those out of the window.
Yeah. No, but they were great. But something about Boston, man. Maybe it felt like they were just different. Like, they're great comedians, but not yet discovered great. So they're still Shane Gillising, I guess, where they're like, all right. But Shane
I can
Gillis
say whatever.
sucks.
I can meddle in the dark arts.
Yeah. He sucked, though. Shane Gillis isn't funny. But, yeah, no, it's one of those things, man. And I loved Boston for that. Boston was like Portland. You know Portland as a city. They're going to have vegan strip clubs.
Yeah.
Boston, you know they're going to have great comedy with comedians who are just fucking awesome.
Yeah. I almost wanted to ask you about that, too, so I guess we'll get into it. Is that the schism happening in comedy right now between, like... Because I read that thing from... Did you read the Seth Simmons article? Did I send that to you guys?
The Seth Simmons out. Which one?
I think... I don't know if it was the New Yorker or the New York Post, but it was like...
the middle one. The middle ground one, yeah.
Because we allowed the comedy club circuit to fester without it, like the mainstream becoming the underground, and the alt skills and alt comedy and the willingness to produce show yourself in like this funner, like this different way, that because I appreciate the dark art people, like the Cumtown guys and the Louis Gomez and like the Shane Gillises, like the Matt and Shane. I've never really gotten to the Matt and Shane podcast, but like I feel like the mistake he made was trying to have corporate success instead of
continuing what he was doing.
Yeah, like going towards because the Cumtown Patreon, like how they're getting like 40,000, 50,000 to like basically do the same type of dark art racism and slurs type of comedy. But like it's really interesting because there is a lot of people who I think were shaken and realized that you can't do both.
Right.
You can no longer have feet in both courts. You know what I mean? Like and like the Colin Quinn thing about like we should just have split the country and like did you see the red state blue state?
Red blue state.
Yeah, I think it's time for a divorce. Yeah, it was fantastic.
It was a great one.
Yeah.
One of my favorite political based stand-ups ever.
Is that that's his new special, right?
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I don't know, just like because there is that thing where the horseshoe theory where like you can be all the way left and be shitty and be all the way right shitty, and it's weird that that's the only spectrum we think about it on. You know what I mean? Like that caring so much about offending people is weak sauce, and like caring so much that you're offended by things that shouldn't, you know what I mean? Like
just talking about just bringing up a topic that's offensive, even though the joke itself isn't offensive.
Yes.
There's
the
that
premise, being offended by a premise versus the fallout.
Yeah, I had, and I think it's important that comedy has pockets, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what any great art and comedy's finally doing, that, where we're getting our pockets with, it's like music. You don't see mainstream people in certain genres of music either.
Yeah.
And I think that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because some people, it should be kept, a certain way. Mainstream should be mainstream, and you're going to be funnier doing what you're best at. I think Jerry Seinfeld put it best, that you are who you are.
Yeah.
And I think so many times, and I hate this. I hate when people are like, they're being lazy. They need to. No, they are that type of comedian. They are this. This is how they are. Not everyone's going to be an Eddie Murphy or Dave Chappelle or someone who can switch things up on a dime.
Not everyone, because what you're doing is exposing yourself the most, and not everyone should be exposing themselves to like a Madison Square Garden crowd.
No.
Like not everyone's true self is absolutely the funniest person.
Doug Stanhope is fantastic. People love Doug Stanhope.
Yeah.
He's not going to be a Madison Square Garden guy. He's just not, and he shouldn't be. He should be who he is, and I
and he recognizes it.
Yeah.
That's what you should see in Doug Stanhope, is that like he has the rabid termites or whatever they are. Like he has his. He's like, no, I mean, even when you hear stories about him coming to the Comedy Store and not going up, because he's like, no, that this is a mixed crowd. I understand that I've worked hard to create a fan base that appreciates me for me.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think one of the things that topped on was the MTV was a movie awards with Sebastian. And the
VMAs.
The VMAs, and people were angry at him. There's a lot of people. I don't think a ton, but because that's not his area, that's not his expertise. He's not going to touch the hearts of a mainstream audience, and it was a weird choice. If you're going to have a comedian do it, I thought, the Oscars with Kevin Hart was a great idea because he has touched mainstream.
Yeah.
Then that thing popped out.
Well, he's like Kevin Hart's embedded in Hollywood. That's why.
Yeah.
It's like I saw people after the whole Sebastian thing.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, anybody who knows Sebastian, he's about as clean as like a fucking big comic gets.
Yeah.
He swears a little bit here and there, but like very clean.
Yeah.
But
I heard stories of at Oddball Fest, he would be second to last, and so it would be a huge crowd, and after him, they would all just get up and leave. It was all just Italian people, and then Jim Jeffries had to go up next, and he's just playing to people leaving.
But it's crazy because it's like I saw people. This is why it's like I don't consider like online, like people online. I don't consider it real life because it's just not.
No.
People get outraged online on Twitter and shit, and it's just like, who the fuck even are you? I saw people get mad about Sebastian's opening monologue because he talked about at the VMAs about safe spaces. Oh, if anybody's triggered, you can go back there. We have like puppies in the back and shit.
That's hilarious.
There's people, but I saw people on Twitter saying like, oh, this is so over the top, offensive to people who actually have
Triggers.
And like, oh God, what did they hire a men's rights activist to host the VMAs? I'm like, dude, this is like, I don't know. From my perspective, it's like this is the thoughts of like an insane person.
Yeah.
But this is why I'm saying it's like
women are just using you. You take the red pill, folks.
I think what it is not. It's people look for what other people say, and they're like, that's true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Some people aren't going to be internet people because internet needs a certain sense of purity for the internet.
But I also thought that it was a bad move on Sebastian because it's like that's not your crowd, dude.
No,
Who goes to the VMAs? Fucking
not.
white girls in between the ages of like 16 to 22
Jersey
or
Shore's
something.
been dead for a while.
Yeah.
That's what I 100% meant when I said that. That's not his thing,
It's
and
not your crowd. Yeah,
it'll
it's
never be his thing. And
That's a
he's
really
so
important
he's
thing.
so big already. It's like you don't need to do that, dude.
That's
Like,
that's
who gives
right.
a fuck about that shit?
Exactly. You don't need to.
You're selling out Madison Square
Yeah.
Garden multiple times. Like
Metallica
cares
does
about the
not have to do the
VMAs?
Super Bowl.
Exactly, dude. You think Rage Against the Machine would be doing the fucking Super Bowl, dude? Come on, like, please.
You're going to get as big as you are with that crowd, and you're just gonna offend people.
But
or
you
not.
know, this whole thing too about like I think there's a balance too between like people talk about like the woke comedy side and like the overly offensive comedy side. It's like I think there's a balance in between there, right? Because like I look at like the woke, very progressive comics as boring. Like I think it's like safe comedy. It's not interesting to me. But also at the same time, I think that the guys who try to be offensive just to be offensive, that's
more of those.
That's just as annoying.
Yeah, there's
know?
more of those
like
than the progressive ones. Honestly,
Yeah,
Those are definitely the worst open micers where they have a sheet of paper and they're like, I'm going to fucking get them. Like abortions, molestation.
Exactly.
It's the
It
worst.
just it
and
has
what, guys, huh?
It has to be funny. Period. You can be
Exactly.
you can be a progressive comic or an anti-progressive comic, but as long as it's funny,
I'm a
that's what
progressive
matters.
comic.
Yeah.
I'm just probably one of the most progressive people. I work for the Bernie Sanders campaign. I do that, but I think it's a way that you word it right, knowing that people you don't attack a certain demographic. You want to give a little bit of both, and just you want to be a comedian, not rant.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what people do, and you can tell the people who are trying to be offensive for the sake of being offensive on either side of the spectrum, and it's not funny.
Or who's just looking for like applause breaks,
Ugh.
like who just wants to like, hey, rape is bad, right, guys? Yeah.
And those are the people who are also like, people are just offended.
Yeah.
No, you just suck.
Yeah,
This crowd
exactly.
sucks.
You just suck. There's a lady.
You guys don't understand my genius.
There was a lady outside of Downbeat the other day who was ranting because a certain comedian went up on stage and was talking about race, and she's like, "That's why racism's alive, because you talk about race."
Jesus
And I'm
Christ.
like, "No, racism is racism. No one's laughing because he sucks."
I thought I did all right.
It was no, it was.
Oh,
yes,
I gotta piss.
yeah.
he was so bad, and he's just a bad comedian. But I don't know. I think we've everyone's wrong. No one's right. And
I think I know who you're talking about, and I think it was funny. It's just like it was like listening to white people be like this, black people be like this,
Yeah.
set, but without the black people side.
yeah.
He's like, white people be like this, white people be like this. white people-
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah.
He's just not funny. He's just not a funny person. He's
Not yet, and that's the thing is that like he's probably got some sense of taste that he's
Wait.
going for.
wait, no, he's been doing it for like 20 years. Oh, you don't know who I'm talking about.
Oh, okay, yeah, we're talking about someone else. No, that one was the exact opposite of what I just said.
Yeah, it was. I was outside.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
Oh.
I just know he's an awful comedian.
Yes.
But it's one of those things,
Feel
man.
bad.
Where I try to. It's the internet, and I'll blame the internet because we don't look at other perspectives. But in person, man, all these people who are quote unquote outraged are people who I meet with. I see all the
Yeah.
time. I'm a young progressive, and I meet people, and they're not as angry as everyone thinks. And
Yeah.
conservatives aren't as bad as people think. You know,
Yeah.
some of my family members, just awesome people. We all think the same. We all have.
It's just
the
when you
same-
look from the top down at the black and whites, they have a different opinion of how it should be doing. You know what I mean?
I just think it's.
Yeah.
I just think it's the
fundamental misunderstanding, but
Yeah, I just think it's the
Yeah.
internet. When you don't have to be face to face with someone, conversation's impossible. And we're an
Absolutely.
opinionated world. We're America. We want to say what we want to say, but when there's no recourse, when there's no one there in front of you, you're going to be la 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 la. Listen to me. That's it. Your opinion doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're waiting to respond rather than waiting to listen. And that's the amazing thing about just talking to people. And I think comedy, more than anything else, forces people to listen. And you learn. If you want to be a good comedian, you need to learn the other side. You want to be a good political comedian, you need to learn how to debate yourself. It's awesome. I love comedy. Love you.
fantastic. Love you too, Shannon. All right, we're gonna be wrapping this bitch up.
Love you, Shannon.
Love you too,
That was
Eddie.
it was very nice to know you, and I'll keep in touch, bud.
Yeah, man, for sure, brother.
Stay black.
Peace, God.